Hello and welcome to the historic Wayne Theater Ross Performing Arts Center, located in downtown Waynesboro, Virginia. My name is Tracy Straight, and I have the privilege of being the executive director. On behalf of our board of directors, our staff, and awesome ambassadors, we welcome you in. The historic Wayne Theater was built in 1926 and began as a vaudeville house with a small orchestra pit and 625 seats. Through the years and after a series of unfortunate fires, the theater was redesigned as a movie duplex and functioned until 1999. Over the next 16 years, the Wayne Theater Alliance rented a storefront only a block from the theater in downtown Waynesboro, and we called it the Gateway. This was a special space to provide live performances and bring folks into downtown Waynesboro. To complete the Wayne Theater renovation, we were able to take advantage of historic and new market tax credits and will forever be grateful to the many generous donations from the community. The building you see today has state-of-the-art technical equipment, a hydraulic orchestra pit, and the main theater has 385 seats. We also have the Custom Cabaret. It's our own little black box that also provides us as an intimate performing space. The Loudermilk Lounge, which features our historic stained glass windows, the Meadows Parlor, and our art exhibit gallery. We proudly opened our doors in March of 2016. Since then, the Wayne Theater has hosted, produced, or sponsored over 300 events each year, bringing the best artistic and cultural acts to the greater Waynesboro community. Currently, we offer a Broadway series that highlights local and regional talent, arts education programming, providing students a wonderful and affordable opportunity to experience live theater, classic films. It's almost like seeing them again for the first time when you experience the film on the big screen. Art exhibits that are curated, themed, and rotated 4 times a year. Our signature speakers series with a focus on history and science. We offer tours of the Wayne Theater, and all the time you can catch amazing performers from all over the world that come right here to bring us their wonderful talents. We hope you enjoy your time at the Wayne Theater, and please come back and see us again soon. Thank you. Hello, my name is Tracy Straight. I'm the Executive Director of the historic Wayne Theater Ross Performing Arts Center, and I want to welcome you to this week's At Home with the Wayne. We are coming to you live from our stage once again, and welcome to our VIP guests in the theater. Tonight, we are very happy to have set and lighting designer John Fregosi join us. John has been teaching theater arts at Staunton High School and will share some of the other highlights of his career. This evening's At Home with the Wayne is brought to you by our month of September sponsors, Lumos Networks, Dr. Brian T. Brumbaugh with Pediatric Dentistry, Barron Ridge Physical Therapy, and Parrot Orthodontics, creating beautiful smiles that help change the world. If you would like to become a sponsor of the At Home with the Wayne series, a partner in the arts, or make a donation to the Wayne Theater, please click on the waynetheater.org link in the description of this post just above the comments section. Once on our website, look for the orange box that says At Home with the Wayne. Please follow the prompts to make a donation or become a sponsor of any of our programming. We truly appreciate any support you can give. And now, here's Hank Fitzgerald and John Fregosi.
Good evening. My name is Hank Fitzgerald, and our guest tonight is John Fregosi.
Hello.
John, we are so happy to have you with us tonight. Welcome to all of you at home and all of you that are in our audience tonight. John, it is so good to see you, my friend. It's been several months since we've seen each other. You look great. I'm glad to have and be here in your presence tonight. Those who are watching, John Fregosi is a wonderful stage designer, set designer, and director in our area. John, why don't you tell the guests that are watching where you are from?
Well, I grew up in a small town in northeastern Vermont called Lyndonville. It's about 35 miles away from the Canadian border. Not a whole lot of things that were in the town, and so of course we had a lot of imagination when we were growing up. Was fortunate to have a really wonderful school that I went to called Linden Institute, and there it had a really thriving arts program, and was very blessed to have a teacher who was able to see a lot of things in her students and nurture them. And so many of them went on to have very creative and wonderful careers in the arts because of that. And so, yeah, it's just a nice little place that, that I grew up just in the sort of the middle of nowhere.
In Vermont, yes. So, John, what brought you to the Shenandoah Valley?
Okay. I used to, before I came here, I was working in professional theater for a while. And when I was working in Memphis is where I met my wife, Stacy. And we fell in love, decided to get married. And we also, at the same time, decided that we kind of wanted to leave the professional life because we kind of saw a lot of strain that would happen and how difficult it would be to have a marriage while also having that kind of life. So we wanted to kind of leave it and have a life of our own. The question then was, well, where do we go if we're going to leave Memphis? And Stacy really wanted to move to Staunton because her parents live over here in Waynesboro. And as she put it, I really wanted to live a place really, really close to my parents so that I could see them whenever I wanted to, but not necessarily right next to them so they could see me whenever they wanted to.
Yes.
Have all that closeness, see, like all, be able to really share the lives, but not have to be like next door, as it were.
Right. Well, we are glad that you and Stacy moved to the Shenandoah Valley, and I speak for a lot of other people, actors, designers, and friends of ours that are so glad that you moved to this area.
Oh, thank you.
And we're blessed to have you in this area. John, what took you down the path of being a set and lighting designer? Was there a person that inspired you when you were younger, or something that sparked your interest in scenic design and lighting?
Well, honestly, it kind of came about when I was in high school because I was allowed to have opportunities. The teacher that I was talking about, her name was Bertha Corey, and she always kind of encouraged people to do whatever they felt like they were interested in. And a play came around, and I just got this idea that I really wanted to do the lighting design for it. It was a little simple murder mystery that only had 4 people in it. And knew nothing about lighting design whatsoever and just proceeded to go over and do a whole bunch of really stupid things to get things that I liked. So I would take lights and I would put them on pipes that would wrap around people's necks so they could move around and make it look like car lights that were streaming through windows. And the creativity of being able to do something like that kind of got me hooked.
Yeah.
So when I moved on to college and I did a lot of acting roles, anytime I got an opportunity to start designing there, I would just jump right into it. And from that, it sort of became what I enjoyed doing, especially since during college, the jobs that I was able to get in the summer were jobs working as scenic painters and technicians. So that's kind of led me into that. As far as like one person who kind of inspired me in that, I had a lot of different people who inspired me, but kind of like anything else, it's always the people who believe in you. Who they look at you and they say, I trust your judgment, I trust your artistic decision. And a lot, directors, designers, technicians, all kinds of people I've been very fortunate to have people do that for me in my life, because it can very easily have gone the other way and people said, I don't believe in you, and I might have given up on it.
Right, and we always need those people in our lives
Yeah.
that say, you can do it, I believe in you, and it's always good to have that push. And,
Yeah.
Let's see who we've got watching with us tonight. We have Elizabeth Brandon. Heather Ray Harlow is watching tonight. Hello, Heather. Stacy Fregosi is watching tonight, your wife. Hi, Stacy.
I'll say good things.
Yes, I'll make sure of that. And so, yes. So, John, when you design a show, what type of research do you do and before you design a set? And I know that being a designer or a director, there's always an idea that triggers that idea. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, like anything else, when you're designing, it always comes down to the play that you're reading. you want to make sure that first and foremost, when you're designing a set or doing lights or anything, that you're being true to the story that you're trying to tell. And different plays are going to require different elements to do them well. So usually the best research that you do is you sit there and you just pore over the play and start seeing what images come into your head as you are reading through it. And some things will create different types. So because of that, I would read a play and sometimes I might have this really elaborate set in mind for it that might be completely out of the box from what other people might be thinking. Or I might have another set where I put practically nothing on the stage because the story seems like it works that way. And of course, if you're doing things that are more historical, you do more research based on that. But primarily what you're trying to do is look at what is it that the author wanted to get across. What is the meaning and the motifs that they wanted to do, and how best can you bring your own artistic vision into melding them together and making something that is unique and exciting for the audience.
Yes, and your shows are all unique in different ways. They all have a certain look to it, and you can say, I know when I go see one of your shows, I go, that's a John Fregosi show. You know, you have created a wonderful stamp on your productions, and they're absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you.
So what was the first show that you designed, and when?
Okay, speaking of learning the hard way, the first set design I ever did was my freshman year in college, and it was a play that was called The Clown, and it was an absolutely dreadful set. I look back and I kind of cringe of thinking about it. It just so many elements that I just sort of threw together because I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, and I was just trying to figure it out. So when I look at that, I go and I think, no, that was wrong. The first set I'm proud of was in college was for just a small Eugene O'Neill play called Huey, and it had just so many simple elements, and they all worked together, and they created a really great atmosphere of 3 a.m. in New York in 1910s. So for that, I looked at that and it felt like that's when I was finally starting to get things going. As far as lighting goes, I kind of got thrown into lighting when I could, but for that, I started in college, and then pretty much after I got out of college, I was working at a ballet company as a set painter, and literally on the Nutcracker tour, they fired the lighting designer, and they just turned to me and said, "Can you design the lights for the Nutcracker tour?" And I went, okay. And the next thing I know, I'm designing in civic theaters with 2,000 seats and more lights than I could ever count, and I'm giving them to professionals, union people, and they were all wonderfully nice to me. They're like, "You do realize you numbered this wrong, okay?" And they knew where I was coming from. So they were very nice about trying to help me through.
Right.
But I would just learn right there on the job, and a lot of the times I kind of did that. I learned as I got thrown into a situation and just figured it out as I went along.
Yes.
And just picked up what I needed to do.
So which came first, set or lighting?
For me, actually, I mean, lighting, because I did that in
Exactly.
high school, and I was really interested in that. But primarily, it became more sets when I was, once I got to college, that was more the thing that I was doing, because I was there as a painter. That's how I got my jobs, was because I would just give them set painting things, and they had a lot of technicians, but they didn't have a lot of people who could paint scenery. So I always got the job because of that. It's always good. Have a skill that will get you hired. Because I was able to talk myself into a lot of jobs I really should not have gotten just because I could paint.
Yes.
And they took that and ran with it.
Yes. Well, you know, I know working with you on several different shows that I learned painting techniques from you, from watching you and helping you and working together with you. So that's always was a good.
A little night music.
Exactly. It was a beautiful show making those trees.
Yep.
You know. So John, when working with an artistic team, how important are the elements of collaboration?
Oh my, well, I mean, performing arts is all collaboration. So, I mean, you can come in here as a set designer and just have all of these ideas, but they all have to work together. So you'd have to go into these production meetings and start talking with directors, making sure the color scheme of a set works with the color scheme of the costumes. And sometimes you'd get disparate ideas and you'd have to rework them. Sometimes those disparate ideas work out well. I worked on a production of Jesus Christ Superstar where I came in and I was really inspired by the movie The Last Temptation of Christ, and I wanted those old kind of sets to it. The costume designer came in and he wanted like all orange 70s, and they kind of put these two things together and they strangely worked. They really did. The one on top of the other, they just popped out in the right way. And so sometimes they do, but if it didn't, we would have to rework it.
Right.
And so you're constantly having to depend on the team, and that's always the thing. Whether you're directing or you're the one person backstage just pulling the lines, you're always part of a team, and the team has to work well.
Yes.
And when it doesn't, everything just starts falling apart.
Yes.
So usually when I'm working with people or trying to assemble a show or anything like that, the first thing I ask is, how easy are they to work with? How well do they collaborate? Because without that, you just can't have a show.
Yeah. Let's look and see. Elizabeth Moss is watching. Sarah Leach is watching. So excited to be watching at home with the Wayne tonight, and everyone is having a great time. And so, John, tell us a little bit about you actually designed the first show here at the Wayne, which was The Secret Garden, and Stacy lit it.
Yeah.
John lit it. Yes, John lit it. And that was a wonderful collaboration, speaking of. And you also designed Hairspray for us, which was a beautiful production.
And it's true. I mean, those were difficult ones to do because, like, normally I want to be there the entire time.
Yes.
But since they were during the school year and I was so busy other places, we would try to come in and just run in and help and like, here's the designs, help people through it.
Yes.
And that's why I say where it gets difficult, because when you're trying to do that, you want to be there, right there on the spot, all working together, and it's can be a little distancing to know that you're setting things in there and other people are there doing them.
Yes.
And sometimes they'll have questions and they have to call you and have to try to explain how to paint something over the phone.
Yes.
And so it's difficult. So the fact that those all turned out and they worked out well it's a wonderful testament to communication, collaboration, and pulling those things together because of that.
Yes. And wonderful lighting for Shrek the Musical.
Yes, which I worked with Stacy.
Yes.
Stacy and I have collaborated a couple of times on lighting, and every time it's run smoothly. It's been wonderful, and like I learn far more about lighting from my wife than from what I've had experience with, because she has just come in with such a wonderful set of skills from where she was trained. Being able to collaborate and work with her so consistently has been really a blessing.
And Stacy's a wonderful delight to work with. And Stacy, heart out to you. John, what current projects are you currently working on right now?
Okay, well, as I said, I work over at Staunton High School. I am a teacher there for the theater program. I teach all of the theater classes in the school. For the after-school program, I work with another teacher, Melissa Maynard. In fact, I was very fortunate when I got to the high school that she had already developed such an amazingly strong program. So it wasn't like there was something where I had to go in and build anything. She had already had it going, and I just kind of like stepped in and gradually started doing more and more while I'm there. So now it's at a point where she directs the musicals over there, and I take over the productions in the fall. Well, obviously now with all of the COVID-19 restrictions and the fact that we're doing all virtual learning, it made it very difficult to figure out what projects to do. But fortunately, one of the things the high school was very open about was that they wanted to try to be able to get experiences and activities for the students, that as long as it was 100% safely possible to do so. So they allowed me to develop a series that I'm doing, where we're doing a series of of staged radio plays where we have everybody in their own locations acting like we were doing a radio show, but they're acting it full out on stage, and we're doing 3 of them back to back to back. So we're in rehearsal for His Girl Friday right now, and then in October we're moving into War of the Worlds, and then we're finishing up with Anne of Green Gables. And it's wonderful for the students to see how to try to work with such tight restrictions and so many problems, how you can try to work around them. Yes. It's been wonderful, and it's been making their days because they finally kind of get a chance to get together and work on there as we do our outdoor rehearsals 15 feet apart.
Yes. And, you know, John, not only are you an amazing set designer and lighting, but you're also a director.
Yes.
And your passion for directing. And you end up, as many of us do around, is that we end up doing take a little hats of each different section of there. Not only do you direct, you design your sets.
Yes.
So, yes.
I started directing back in college, but then when I started working professionally, I met a lot of resistance to the idea of me wanting to direct something, because I kind of got this pushback that designers aren't directors, which seemed strange to me because I kind of got into design through directing at college. But there was all that kind of pushback, and I had to really fight for every little thing that I could every credit I could get. And then when I got here and I was able to finally start really working, I was fortunate between working for the high school, doing some things with Shannon Arts, doing Oak Grove Theater, that I got opportunities to go over and do it. And now it's like I primarily am directing.
Yes.
But yeah, I do design pretty much, I do design a lot of my own things. My wife will design a lot of lights for me. Now she's especially with all the things she has to do for the elementary school, she's a little too busy to be able to do as much lighting anymore, but she gets there from time to time. But
yes.
it's nice when you're doing that, because so often when I'm designing, what I'm picturing in my head is how I think the story should be directed. And so when I would be designing for other people, it always a little awkward, because I felt like when I gave them a set design, I felt like I was telling them how to direct the show.
Yes.
When I know that's not the case, I'm just presenting ideas, but it feels that way because so often, I would say in a lot of ways, my sets aren't really any more special or different or amazing than other people's. But I think for me, what sets this type of scenery that I do is I integrate scenery into the way I direct it. So usually the actors are acting with the scenery
yes.
rather than like in front of it or on
yes.
it. And so I think that's usually the thing. If you look at the actual look or the construction or anything like that, it's nothing that's any more amazing than anybody else is doing. People are doing wonderful scenery all
right.
around. But I think that's sort of the thing for me about the directing and the designing has gotten so integrated now that actors are acting with the scenery
yes.
in there, and it almost dances. In fact, that's one of the comments I got with Angels in America, was that the set was pretty much dancing
yes.
with the actors throughout the entire
yes.
play.
Yes, and that's one thing that, you know, being a director and having that set, because you almost have to choreograph every single set movement, every single light movement that it goes with the flow.
Yeah. And I ran into problems with that from time to time. I would
yeah.
design a set, and sometimes the director wouldn't know how to do with it. I did a production of Flowers for Algernon, and I designed a set that everything could be drawn on. There were screens that came in and obscured things,
yes.
and the director couldn't quite wrap her head around it, of how it worked, and I would try to explain, well, this could move into this and this to this, and she kind of got to the point where she was working with it, but she never really felt comfortable with it, because once again, it was interactive. It was
yes.
meant for the actors the set would change as the actors interacted with
yes.
it, because I wanted a set to change as the lead character changed.
Yes, yes,
So.
and you know, we have some other people watching. Kristen Ulrich is watching. Jackie Patson, how are you? Wonderful. Elizabeth Brandon says, John, both you and Hank are known for the fast set changes. What are some of the techniques that enable those smooth transitions?
I know for me, I told you, this is my motto. It's like in 7 seconds. Okay, 7 seconds, because the play never stops. If you have to do a set change, that change has got to be from beginning to end. It has got to be done in 7 seconds, because you don't want the audience to check out. So generally, the first 3 seconds, they're thinking about what they just barely saw. Then for about 3 more seconds, they're thinking about what's about to come.
Yes.
And you got about another second of leeway, but after that, then they're starting to thinking about what they're going to have to eat after they leave.
Yeah.
And so that you want the play to keep moving.
Yes.
So you have to think about how it's designed. How do I get this in here fast? How do I move it fast? Yes. And a lot of times when I direct, I will direct the set changes to happen in plain view as it goes along. Yes. So I want that to be part of how it goes. Yes. And I know that working with you enough, you're very much the same way. I want it to move constantly.
Yes, definitely. And John, what is your favorite show that you have designed? And we've talked about this. Yeah. And one of our favorite people that was actually in the show that we're getting ready to talk about.
Okay. Well, like I said, when you talk about 3 things, set designs, light designs, and directing. For set design, the show that I'm probably most proud of is Les Liaisons Dangereuses. It was done over at Oak Grove Outdoors. It's a huge set, and I incorporated an idea that my wife gave me, because we didn't want to do set changes. We wanted the play to keep moving, and the problem was they go from drawing rooms to bedrooms instantly. And I said, oh, we can't keep moving beds on and off. And then my wife gave me this idea of, well, why don't you use scrims to do it, which outdoors is really difficult because it's a really big lighting challenge. So I painted these fake Rubens paintings on scrims, and behind them were the bedrooms. So as one scene ended, we could just bring up lights behind the painting, and then we had a bedroom. And I remember just being there and hearing that first time where the audience was just whispering, oh my God, those paintings are see-through. Yes. It was such a wonderful effect. Yes. It was so unexpected for an outdoor theater. So I'm incredibly proud of that play. Lights, I have to kind of go way back to lighting design I did back in college for Miss Julie, which had just a simple, beautiful effect where we had dawn rise. And we just went from these interior orange lamps to suddenly these bright lights hitting through windows, and the only lights that were in there were going and hitting the floor and reflected up in this wonderful uplighting on everybody. And it was just a really beautiful, simple little thing that I loved. But as far as directing, probably I've had a lot of great experiences. Probably the show I had the absolute best experience on, from beginning to end, working with the cast, everybody involved, putting everything together. And what we actually put out there was probably Cripple of Inishmaan.
Yes.
That to me, it's like, it just kind of has a nice special place in my heart.
Yes.
And I do have to give a little shout out to my high school too, because actually the play that I probably am the most proud of all over is Document, which was a one-act that my wife and I wrote for a competition. And it was so out of left field, a horror movie, and we simulated found footage cameras with jump starts and cuts. Yes. And everything on an empty stage, and it was wonderful. And it's just one of those moments that you knew you kind of hit something special. Yeah. And that you would like to do it again, but you know you're never going to hit it the same way again.
Right.
So yeah, those are shows that were very, very special to me.
Yeah. And John, one more question for you tonight before we leave is there a show that is your dream show to design or direct?
Well, I've been talking for a long time now. The very first show I did that I directed to college was a Eugene O'Neill play, and I kind of connected with him. Eugene O'Neill is why I got into theater. I started reading him when I was 15 years old, which what 15-year-old reads depressing American dramas? I don't know. I do. Yes. But ever since then, I've been wanting to do him from that point on, and I've brought him up from time to time, and I usually get the thing of, he's so depressing, why do you want to do it? Audiences don't want to see it, so on and so forth.
Yes.
And for 30 years now, I've been trying to do another Eugene O'Neill play. So pretty much anything, probably the top 3 of those dreams would be Iceman Cometh, Long Day's Journey into Night, or A Moon for the Misbegotten. One of those three types of plays I would just die to be able to do again. Yeah.
Well, John, thank you for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you.
This has been fun.
Yes.
And it's been wonderful. We're working together ever since back in 2010, where literally we just passed by each other, and you just said to me, "You want to design the set for A Little Night Music?" I said, "Sure." "You want to design the costumes for Amadeus?" "Okay." And we just kept walking right by.
We did.
Didn't break stride. That's how we started working together.
Yes.
The beginning of our friendship and collaboration was right there at that moment.
Yes, it was. And it's been a wonderful collaboration, my
has.
friend.
Absolutely.
And we want to thank all of our viewers for watching tonight. Stay safe, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. It was really great to see you and your beautiful work tonight. And thank you all for watching At Home with the Wayne. Please keep checking our Facebook page and YouTube channel for lots more fun from the Wayne. These presentations would not be possible without the support of our Wayne Theater patrons, partners, sponsors, and friends. And once again, we'd like to thank our month of September sponsors for At Home with the Wayne: Lumos Networks, Dr. Brian T. Brumball, Pediatric Dentistry, Barron Ridge Physical Therapy, and Parrot Orthodontics, creating beautiful smiles that help change the world. If you would like to become a sponsor of the At Home with the Wayne series, a partner in the arts, or make a donation to the Wayne Theater, please click on the waynetheater.org link in the description of this post just above the comment section. Once on our website, look for the orange box that says At Home with the Wayne. Please follow the prompts to make a donation or become a sponsor of any of our programming. We appreciate any support you can give. And please join us again next Wednesday evening for At Home with the Wayne as we welcome 3 of the young actresses of the Wayne Theater, Harper Jewell, Katie Sullivan, and Violet Craigway Head. Violet, Katie, and Harper will be joining Hank Fitzgerald, our Director of Original Programming, here on this stage to talk about their young careers and share their wonderful talent with us live on the stage. If you would like to join us here in the theater and have VIP access as we produce At Home with the Wayne, please visit our website to purchase tickets. You will join us a bit early in the evening while we're setting up and watch the live stream in person, and feel free to participate by asking questions. We look forward to audiences having a great time with us while experiencing some behind-the-scenes insight. Monday movies are back at the Wayne Theater. However, in observance of Labor Day, we will be closed Monday, September the 7th. The following week, Monday, September 14th, we will have North Dallas 40 at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and we hope to see you then. Please note that we are implementing all of the recommended Virginia Department of Health guidelines in our theater with sanitizing stations, social distance seating, informational signage, and frequent high-volume area cleaning. All patrons, volunteers, and staff are required to wear a mask as they move about the building. Thank you again so much for joining us this evening. Be safe, be hopeful, check in on your loved ones, and we'll see you next time at Home with the Wayne. Good night.